What's up, guys? Back at it. Got the car back, as you guys saw in the last video. It is beautiful. It's still not cut or buffed, which I am fine with, because I'm just gonna keep building the car with it just the way it is. More material means more protection, in my opinion. So as you saw, all the doors, you know, the trunk, deck lid, the hood is all on the car. The gaps are almost perfect. Of course, when you load the doors with glass and all the mechanisms inside there, it's gonna affect the way the door closes. So I do plan on doing a little bit of adjustment once that happens, but that's further down the road. Of course, my plan is to get the drivetrain in this thing. My transmission, my God, my transmission is, I think, gonna be here in the next couple weeks. I don't know. I've been waiting 9 months for it, and I hope it's worth it. But I also wanted to speak. I just turned my Sabbath off so I could make this video and not get sued by the YouTube police. So, and it's not that Ronnie James Dio Sabbath. It's the real Ozzy Osbourne Black Sabbath. So, you're welcome. Anyway, I am putting in subframe connectors, and that I chose to do this after the fact because I'm a lone wolf here. I basically do everything myself. I have buddies that I'll ask for a favor to come help me do something that, you know, if I'm gonna screw something up or, you know, by myself, I'll ask for help. But I couldn't align everything the way I was happy with without another set of hands, and that's why I left the subframe connectors off. So now that the car is together, all the panels are pretty much satisfactory, I'm putting the subframe connectors in. So I wanted to show you guys how I do it. I'm sure there's a million videos out there of how everyone else does it. Some guys make their own, some guys buy them, you know, some guys modify them to be their own. Anyway, lots of different opinions on this, but with the horsepower level I'm going to be making in this car, it was an absolute must. And torque boxes as well. So here are the torque boxes. These came from US Car Tools via Auto Metal Direct. They are prepped and pretty much ready to put in. I wanted to do the connectors first, so I'm going to show you guys how I'm doing this. It is a pain, of course, and I'm worried about paint, of course, which is fine. So these guys are from US Car Tool. I paid retail for them, so no deals, no commercial here. You can see how they're laser cut by them to fit the contour of the floor pan. They're nice enough to mark them right and left, meaning passenger is the right, driver is the left. You can see how it's different from one side to the other. And so what I'm going to show you guys how I'm prepping these things to be burned in a sec, but I just wanted to show them to you guys. It's really just box tube or square tubing, and as you can see, I've marked them and I'm adjusting the openings on them. I did put new floor pans in the car, so there is some variations. They probably modeled these after an OEM floor pan, so there is quite a bit of adjustment, and I mean grinding on these guys. You just have to round off corners and whatnot. So that, obviously my floor jack with the big block of wood, when I get them close and I have them ground to where there's a reasonable amount of distance between this edge and the bottom of the pan, I am using the jack to actually hold them in place and get closer and do my fine tuning towards the end. But what I'm doing with these guys, I've already done the driver's side, but let me set you guys up here so you can see how I do this. And again, there's many different ways to do this, but here's the way I did it. And again, I'm going to mention that I've never done these before, so it's pretty straightforward. As you can see, I have cleaned off the bottom of the pans where they're going to go, and it's not a bid deal. The E-coat comes off real easy. It's just up in the corners and stuff like that where you have to get it really clean. And then I'll hit this with weld-in primer, of course, before I start burning them in. But I wanted to show you guys that. And then of course this guy This is the passenger side. Just basically made a couple of tracks that went down there, did it rough. And I'm gonna be painting the bottom of this chassis with POR15 because it won't ever see sunlight. POR15, and if you don't know, actually fades really badly in the sunlight, so it's really not recommended as a exterior paint. It's mostly just a rust inhibitor or encapsulator slash underpaint, frame paint. So let me again set you guys up. Against that. And so you can see, flip around, what I'm doing is I'm putting it up, and then I'm taking a Sharpie or a permanent marker, and I'm going along the edge here and basically trying to find where it's, so what I'm having to do, see this gap? There's a gap right there. So this has to go up higher, obviously. And before I use the jack and get it, get a lot of pressure in pushing it up, I'm just trying to fine tune here so I can relieve some of these gaps, because we need a lot less gap than that right there. So that's too much. I can bridge the gap, but I'd rather not. It makes things a lot nicer and tidier. So, but you can see what I'm working with here. It's close, but it's not perfect. And for the most part, I could weld this, but I want to get as tight of a fit as possible. So, and show you how I got there. So basically, as you can see, without me pushing very hard, this is going to be an issue here. So this is touching. So when it's touching, you have to grind it down. So let me switch hands here. So what I'll do is I'll just take the pen and roll it down. So it puts another line there, and that's material I have to remove. So, and that will get me closer up there when I remove this. So pretty straightforward, but I wanted to share so you guys know what I'm doing here. I'm not leaving you guys out on anything. I will tell you that my powder coating, I found a really good powder coater that I used to use a long time ago, and I don't know why I haven't used them, but man, they're really good, and I've just got boxes and boxes of parts all ready to go for this thing. So I'm trying to get the tough work out of the way here. And I mean, no one likes laying on their back welding, especially underneath their car, especially if you've used a lift before. You get spoiled fast. So this will tell me where I need to grind in order to move it up. And this guy too. Now there's a lot of back and forth with this. You gotta keep grinding, fitting, grinding and fitting. It's a constant, but that's the way it goes. And you can see my gap there that I have to make up. Not that much, but it's about 1/4 inch, maybe a little more, maybe. So, and then I look at both sides while it's in the car, or fit up rather, and you can see where it's touching. Like this one is actually pretty good. What is it? I think it's hitting on the other side. So you really gotta take the time to do this the right way and pay attention to what side's hitting, because this side will look good all of a sudden and it won't need grinding. So if you grind on it, you're taking away more material that you can weld to otherwise. So you want to be careful to not take too much material off. But anyway, I'm gonna make this, not right this second, but I still have to do some fitting. But I'm gonna show you guys a little time lapse as to how this all works. I'm using a 40 grit flap wheel also. These things are gold, but I would caution you on don't use the edge. Try to keep it as flat as possible. So that way they'll actually last a lot longer. See how thick it is in here and then how thin it is out here. You just gotta use the middle when you can, just to make it last longer. Almost to where I can use the jack and fine tune, but keep in mind I've been doing this for about 2 years or 2 hours. Seems like 2 years because I'm on my back underneath the car on the ground, but yeah, just to give you perspective on how long this takes, you just got to go slow and not take too much off at a time, and fit, refit, grind, fit. You get that picture. See what I mean? Just it's over and over, but it's actually fitting very nicely. I'm about to use the jack. Alright, so I got my jack in place. As you can see, it tightens things up quite a bit. So I've made some last minute marks here just to relieve that pressure. You can kind of see where it's basically almost touching. And I've made another mark here just so I can go up a little bit. And stuff like that. Just fine tuning, basically, just to get it up just that much more. But you guys get the picture. It just takes time. I've kind of swallowed that. That was a 1/4 inch last time I showed you. So getting closer. All right, so I've got the subframe connector basically fit as good as it's gonna fit. I'm happy with most of it. A little unhappy here and there, but it's nothing I can't weld. I did, in fact, go through and mark the areas where it's going to be, so I basically just traced around it, and that's just to help kind of guide me as to where the connector is going to live. And so I'm going to go through here with a little not wire wheel, but the plastic bristle disc that I use, little green ones, and just clean this metal up just to make sure I have a good solid weld. Get in the corners there where there's a little bit of rust and undercoating left over. Nothing major, just a little touch up, you know, stuff like this that just kind of has been there since the last time I attempted to fit these up. That stuff, nothing too big of a deal, but I'm ready to burn these in, looks like. So tomorrow I'm gonna do the final fit and start tacking them in while maintaining pressure with the jack. So I will, it'll be just a minute before you guys see what's happening. It'll be tomorrow for me, but give me a sec and I'll show you where I'm at. All right, it's back at it. Told you I'd be back in a few minutes, or seconds, I guess. So I've got it's kind of the same thing with these subframe connectors as just putting in sheet metal floors or quarter panels, tail panels, rear balances, you got to screw it into place just to secure it, so it doesn't move or anything like that. You got to use the jack to push it up as hard as you can, just so it seals as closely to the bottom of the floor pan as possible. So I'm going to be doing that, but I'm going to do obviously one side at a time and sink them in. But I just got done drilling the holes. Got those two there on the sides, those two on the bottom, those two in the front. No holes on the side here because there's really nothing to screw to. This butts up to the torsion bar cross member, and this is actually access to one of the holes in the torsion bar cross member on both sides. And obviously these will clamp. I'll use a big either a C-clamp or a big vice grip clamp to clamp these guys down so they're flat, and then these guys will actually push it up to the bottom of the frame rail there. So just doing some fine tuning. Let me get this mocked up and I'll show you how I'm doing it. Alright, so I got the areas treated with weld through primer. You kind of see it's going to go here and all along the bottom there where I removed the paint or E-coat. You go there, and then you got it here, all along there, and up in here. There you go. Connectors are drying in the sun here. They're fully treated inside so they don't start rusting immediately. Just a little prevention here. So let me get these things mocked up and I'll be right back with you. See how I have my jack biased more towards the front? I'm trying to get this guy sucked up. So I'm using the jack to actually get this sucked into place where it needs to be. Notice how I'm screwing from the bottom up to get it sucked up tight. I'll put that in. Make sure you don't drill your holes up too high, especially on the outside. You can't put a screw gun in there if they're up too far. The inside doesn't really matter. You can put the screws or the holes wherever you want, because there's nothing impeding on your approach. What's up, guys? Back at it on the Charger. I just wanted to let you guys know I'm going to be doing the burning the subframe connectors in today. It's been a long time coming. I'm glad I can do it now. I've got the car leveled, same amount of air in both back tires, just to alleviate any question or doubt as to whether the car is crooked or sitting funny. The car is zeroed out completely, even though the front end's on jack stands and the back is on my I call them race ramps, but they're really just 2x4 stacked up. It's like lowered car life kind of thing, if you don't know what they are. They're those probably some of the best use of wood I've ever done in my life. Those things help a lot. I've always been a truck builder until now, and in fact the last truck I built was lowered with all the QA1 stuff. You guys may have seen the video. If not, check it out. It's our most recent video to this. So let me show you what we got going here. Alright, so this is the passenger side. As you can see the R there. I put a weld through primer on all the bare spots that I cleared out for the mounting points here. It's all pretty tight, nothing I can't weld, and it's screwed in with just standard button heads like I used on all the sheet metal just to keep it in place. Those little screws are a lot stronger than they look, let me tell you. These are under some pressure, so I used a floor jack and a block of wood just to get them crammed up in there and landed them, so as you saw in the video. So yeah, looking good, feeling good. Driver's side, or I guess I should show you the back side of these. A little bit of a gap there in that lull, I guess you could say. That one notch right there does not get welded. I don't think it was ever intended to get welded. I think they would have built it up higher if it was. Maybe some guys weld them, but I'm going to leave that alone. This thing will be very, very strong just the way it is. So so there's that. Now driver's side, all looks pretty tight to me, and again there's that same gap. It's a little tighter on this side than it is on the other side, but again I'm not going to weld that. I don't think there's any reason to. It's got drain holes here, so it's not sealed. Oops, there's that. There's 3 on each one, so they get a chance to dry out. I did spray the inside of them, as you saw, in case it got edited out. I did, I promise. There's that. And I'm going to weld these guys up here, the little L and the R on the other side. Don't need it. I already know what side it's on. So, all right, let me get my machine set up here, and I will get right back with you. So I had my whatever was left over from my body plug kit just kind of sitting up there. I didn't want to burn any before I got them actually put into place. I mentioned how much I hate overhead welding. It sucks. Alright, so I'm just kind of finding my stride here, getting these things stitched up. The tacks didn't go as good as I had hoped, but there are enough of them to where I feel okay stitching them together. But here's the issue with this. So these subframe connectors are 1/8 inch plate steel, or box tube, whatever you want to call it. This is 18 gauge sheet metal. So I set my heat based on vertical, overhead, and 1/8 inch plate. So my wire speed's slightly faster because we have to use more wire actually to fill in the hole and to burn the two together. But here's the issue: you can't just run a bead just like regular. Say you're just welding two pieces of 1/8 inch steel together. You can't just run a continuous bead; it'll blow through. So what I'm having to do is basically just tack weld, if you will, or I call it stitch. Basically going from here to there, skipping over, going here to there, skipping over, going here to there, that, so on and so forth. So that does a couple of different things. It allows you to concentrate heat in one spot where you need it, but if I just kept going, it would probably warp this pan, and it's probably not going to go very far, but it will warp. So what I'm trying to avoid is that warping the steel. Of course, the sheet metal, the floor is going to get insulation and paint and whatnot, but I'm just trying to keep my heat from over absorbing into this area, for instance. So what I'm going to do is basically just connect these dots here and just skip over it. I actually got started on the other side and forgot to turn the camera on because I was working. So I've also moved my ground. As you probably saw, there was some spattering, or it sounded like I wasn't welding to clean metal, so it was kind of a well, I guess spattering. It sounded like it was just spattering a lot, so I moved my ground just to see if that alleviates it. But this metal's clean. It's just this weld-through primer I've never, and some of you have been watching the channel for a while, I've never actually used a weld-through primer that welded good. So I'm guessing that's probably what's happening here. Is the weld-through primer is just maybe not as good as it could be, or anyway. So let me get back to work here. As you can see, this is kind of the pattern we're going to do. It just keeps us from having too much heat in one spot, that's all. I know I've said it 100 times, but it's really, really important. Unless you're, if you're working with plate steel, it's obviously not a big deal. You can just weld it and burn it in as hot as you want, but this is just a little more delicate. And, the truth is, you don't need an entire continuous weld down this whole thing. It's not necessary. And in fact, I'm just going to see how this one goes. I'm not going to do I don't think I'm going to do the full thing, but honestly, stitch welds 8 inches long up and down the thing, bottom, vertical. I mean, this thing is not coming off. It's not breaking off, I assure you. So I guess we'll just see how it goes. I hate making a plan and then say, oh, I'm going to change it, the last minute. So we will see. But honestly, it's really not necessary. Want to know how you're getting good at penetration? And you have access to the back side of the panel? That's how. That's how you know it's bonding all the way through. Not bad. I gotta take a break from this smoke. Back at it. I'm almost done with the driver's side subframe connector, and just gonna do a few little touch-ups here, and then I'm gonna move over to the passenger side. But it's a new day, and I'm feeling the progress. So here we go. Alright, I'm on my second pass of the passenger side. So it dawned on me that when I was doing the subframe connectors, my battery ran out and I forgot about the footage. So for that, I apologize. But the subframe connectors are on the car, and I started touching up the POR 15 under there, and what a mess that was, man. It's doing this stuff underneath the car is, yeah, you ruin everything you wear. It gets on your hands, you wear it for like a month. It's pretty, I guess it goes to show you how good that product is. And I'm not sponsored by them, I just use it in any application that doesn't see sunlight. It's perfect for, like undercoating on cars and stuff like that. I just don't like the rubber undercoating. That's why I typically use the POR. But I have made the mistake on putting it on my orange truck frame, which from time to time sees some sunlight, and it basically just dulls it out. It doesn't make it come off, it just dulls it so it looks terrible. Anyway, so I want to show you the subframe connectors. Excuse me. And the I guess the finished installed product here. I feel good about the welds. I mean, they're not obviously perfect, but I'm not that guy. So, but I will show you at the end of this footage how I know that they're good and how you could tell if your welds are gonna hold up. You can see, yeah, this is super not fun to do this in here. It just rains on you. So, but I did do seam seal around the areas that didn't meet the flange like super tight. And it's just kind of impossible because you don't want to beat on it from the above because you'll deform the sheet metal on the top. So you just kind of gotta know when to say when and just let it go. But it's all sealed up, really good penetration. And then here's the driver's side. It's pretty good, I think. And they had a left kind of lasered out, and I actually just welded that in, so that was kind of like my plug weld on both sides. On the right, they also did the right side too. So I'm not sure about the torque boxes. The way they fit is absolute garbage, and I just don't know if I'm going to use them yet. So I'm just kind of holding off just to see how it goes. And I mean, I can always put them in at a later date, but yeah. So that is that. And on the next video, I'm going to show you what I've been doing since my last video, and it includes a media blast cabinet and a whole lot of parts for this car. So it's not riveting stuff, but I want to show you guys only because if anybody's watching this that's going to get into restoring cars, or if they want to do it to their, to their level, anyone's level, this stuff has to be done, in my opinion, for it to actually turn out okay. So so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. I know I'm trying to keep good footage going. I just don't want to put something in there that just for posting something. It's just not what we do here. I want to actually have good videos that help you learn and give you the confidence to do something out of your comfort zone. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.